Hey, it's Chris Aiken from the Classic Metal Show. Most people know me as the foul-mouthed shock jock from the Classic Metal Show, or the no-nonsense heavy metal critic from pitriff.com. Now you get to learn the other side. My first book, Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness, comes out on January 13th in paperback and digital formats on Amazon and iTunes. It details my real-world emotional struggles over a year that included a divorce after a quarter-century of marriage and the death of my father. It profiles things I did right, as well as a bevy of things that I did wrong with the help of alcohol, and how I found my way out of the muck of the emotional state that almost saw me commit suicide. Pre-order your copy of Little Victories, A Tale of Divorce, Debauchery, and Finding Happiness today at www.chrisaikenbooks.com and get in touch with the more fallible side of me, Chris Aiken. Sounds happy, huh?
It is Riot right here on your Classic Metal Show with Swords and Tequila, Chris.
Well, I like tequila a little, and I like swords, so I guess I like that song.
Right. Well, today I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. Our good friend Steve, whom you became acquainted with, 6 years ago.
Sure.
Who you do some business with periodically.
Mm-hmm.
He decided, I'm not really sure the reason why, but there's a little Mexican restaurant in Crown Point, Indiana.
Okay.
And if anybody is aware of Crown Point, Indiana, if you've seen the movie Public Enemy or know anything about American history, John Dillinger, famous gangster from the 30s and the 40s, put Crown Point on the map because he was the only one that ever escaped from the Crown Point jail.
Right.
And Johnny Depp reenacted the whole thing, and the movie's called Public Enemy, right?
I think so, yes.
It came out, 5 years ago or something? They actually filmed part of that jailbreak scene in Crown Point, Indiana.
Cool.
And my office was not far down the road from that, and they had the streets blocked off for about a week so they could film basically 30 seconds of a scene.
Right.
And Johnny Depp was actually in town filming his portion of the John Dillinger scene escaping from the Crown Point jail. Wow. And they actually used the Crown Point jail to actually film the actual scene. And I guess
positive or a negative, or does that say that your town is real old fashioned?
Well, the jail itself is now a more or less a museum type thing.
Okay.
But it still exists, and the warden's house still exists, and so they kind of use that as the backdrop in the actual movie,
right?
And I think the entire scene in the movie is probably like a minute and a half long.
Okay,
but it took them a good week to film just that portion of that movie.
Sure.
I guess the rest of it ended up on the cutting room floor, but regardless, they had the streets blocked off down there, during the filming and whatnot, and people would gather down there during the day or during the evening. And I wasn't down there, but I had heard on a couple of nights Johnny Depp actually came out and just hung out with the people.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And then he came out and took pictures and signed autographs, etc.
Sure.
It's for that movie. But anyway, there's a little restaurant, or it's a Mexican restaurant in the square of Crown Point. It's called Tequila Sea.
Okay.
And I noticed a couple of weeks ago, one of our CMS fans by the name of Taylor Page.
Sure.
I don't know where she's from.
Okay.
But she mentioned that it was her birthday and her friends took her to Tequila Sea in Crown Point.
You know what I know about Taylor Page? She is smoking fucking hot.
Well, I've seen the pictures and stuff, so I don't know where she's from.
Yeah, you might want to find out.
But she apparently went to Tequila Sea for her birthday.
Okay.
That she posted it. I saw her say, "Hey, I went to this really great Mexican restaurant in Crown Point for my birthday, Tequila C. You know, if you ever get a chance, go there, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Okay.
All right. Well, anyway, our friend Steve, who you do some business with and who I've known for about 10 years now.
Sure.
He purchased, I guess what they do once a year at this Tequila C, and tequila is a, you know, part of the name.
Mm-hmm.
They do this thing once a year where they do this tequila tasting thing.
Okay.
And he called me up the other day and said, hey, I bought 10 tickets for this thing. You go to this Tequila C, and they've got this distiller guy. I don't know if he's a distributor or whatever, but he brings, you know, a bunch of these different tequilas from around the world.
Right.
And they pour you a shot of every one of these tequilas.
Okay.
So we were tasting 8 of these things. So they give you 8 shots, an ounce of tequila in each shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they serve you appetizers throughout the whole thing. And this guy basically gives you an education on tequila as to how it's made. And, you know, I guess it's kind of like scotch in a way, the way that they manufacture it gets put in barrels, and, you know, they have smoky barrels and burn barrels, and some of this stuff is set on fire and buried underground. And, you know, it's just all these different ways that they make these tequilas with the various ingredients. And basically, for those of you, and again, I knew nothing about this. He just called me and said, hey, you want to come down and be a part of this? And I was just like, yeah, okay, sure. And you know me, I'm not a big drinker.
Sure.
So I went down for this, you know, to check it out. And it's very educational because this guy kind of gives you the whole background on tequila and how it's made and what it's made from, and anything that's like a gold tequila, like Cuervo Gold and stuff.
Sure.
He's like, stay away from it. It's poison.
Really? It's poison?
Well, you know, not poison as in it'll poison you, but it's just not the real thing. You know, it's not a true tequila because they mix it with coloring, and they mix it with vodka, and they mix it with, you know, all these other ingredients, and this is not a true tequila.
So the clear stuff is a true tequila?
That is correct.
Okay.
So if you drink like a Patron or something like that, and it's kind of expensive, you know, it's kind of like 40, 50, 60 bucks a bottle, it's probably the real thing. But anything that's like Cuervo Gold or something, it's garbage.
Okay.
Because it's got like colorings in it, and it's mixed with vodka and, you know, all kinds of, you know, it's like the kitchen sink variety where you just throw in all kinds of alcohols and just mix it up and call it tequila, you know?
Sure. Did he have any, did they have any opinion on the Sammy Hagar tequila?
Well, you know what? I actually thought about asking that question.
Okay.
But, you know, he was so into his whole dissertation about tequila and how this one is made and how that one's made and whatever.
Okay.
But I did not consume all the shots of tequila. I tasted all of them.
Did Steve take them all?
Oh, he drank them all. And then he asked me, hey, do you have the, and the thing is that they lined them up. They gave you 8 shot glasses. They were plastic shot glasses, and then they put an ounce in each shot glass.
Okay.
And then they basically went shot glass for shot glass and told you, you know, smell this, taste it. What are you tasting? Because each one did taste different from the other. Some of them had a smoky flavor. Some of them had a fruity flavor. Some of them had, you know, it just a whole different array of flavors.
Right.
And then he explained how each one of them was made. And, you know, some of them are made in like, you know, some dirty part of Mexico. And
sure.
it's not exactly stainless steel vats and guys in white coats and hard helmets. You know, they're dirty farmers with dirty boots out in the middle of a cornfield making this shit, you know?
Right, it's moonshine.
Yeah, more or less.
Moonshine, that's what it is.
More or less.
Right.
You know, so it was kind of a lesson. It was different, you know, and I went, and like I said, they served you all kinds of Mexican appetizers to go along with it, and you taste your tequila and you eat these appetizers. And, you know, it was an interesting thing. You know, it's definitely not something that, you know, it's for lack of a better term, it's one of those more highbrow occasions.
Okay.
Because the whole idea there is to sell you on buying a bottle of whatever your favorite one is that you tasted.
Right. They want you to walk out with a $60 bottle.
Exactly. That's
Sure.
exactly it. And apparently Steve, for whatever reason, he must have been feeling kind of generous or whatever, because he bought 10 tickets to this thing.
Jesus, how much were the tickets?
I don't know. I didn't want to ask. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, you know.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, what he did was that he asked everybody who was in our party to write their name on a slip of paper, and they put it in a, you know, like a fishbowl type thing, and had one of the waitresses pull it out. And then he gave the winner whatever bottle of tequila they enjoyed the most.
Wow, I should have drove up for this.
So it was different. And, you know, I didn't, you know, being that I had to do the show tonight and being that I had to drive home and stuff, and not that I would have got hammered anyway, because that's just not my style, but, you know, I just tasted all of them. You know, I didn't drink them. I tasted them.
Was Steve celebrating something?
I just think he wanted to get out with his bros and do something, you know, cool. And I think, you know, he's been doing pretty well with business and so on. And I think he just wanted to get out there and celebrate, I think, a little bit, and just like, hey, I'm hanging with my buds, you know, and I want to do something cool for everybody.
Well, good for him. I was under the impression he was going through a fairly bad time in his personal life.
I don't know the answer. I'm not even going to question it.
Okay.
But I went to it and I did it, and it was interesting, and it was just like, you know, tequila's not my thing.
Right.
But there were 2 out of the 8 that I would have said, okay, I could probably sip one of these if I was in a, you know, in a position where I wasn't going anywhere or doing anything.
Sure.
Because there were some that I tasted, and as soon as it went in my mouth, it felt like it was being absorbed into my tongue.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? It was like an instantaneous, like it disappeared in your mouth. As soon as you put it in your mouth, it like absorbed into your tissues or something.
Acid bath.
So it was different. I will admit that. I've never done that before. I think I would enjoy a wine tasting more than a tequila tasting.
Yeah, I've never done a tequila or any whiskey or any of that stuff.
But I'm telling you, a tequila tasting, some of that's pretty rude stuff.
Oh, I'm sure. Some of it's probably just dog shit.
Oh, well, it wasn't dog shit. It's just it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, tequila itself is you either love it or hate it. There's no middle ground. It's not like rum that you could be like, this is okay. This is smooth.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's fucking either you like it or it's harsh.
And the thing is they want you to smell it first.
Yeah.
And some of it just will knock you off your seat.
Yeah. So you're like, I'm not putting that in my mouth.
you smell it, and it's just like, oof, that smells like kerosene.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and you want me to drink this?
Yeah, I'm not drinking that. I might put it in my car.
So,
gas up the ride, but that's about it.
Right. So that was an experience today.
Well, that's cool. Sounds fun.
It was fun. It was cool. You know, I met some of his friends and whatever, and, you know, we just kind of hung out there. But, you know, Steve's really funny because, you know, you met Steve, and he's just like your typical married guy.
Yeah, sure.
He wants to get out there and do something cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, I've been stuck in being married for so long. I just want to go out and do something cool.
Right. And for him, it's a whole sneak away.
Right.
It's definitely not look, babe, I'm going out to do something fun. It's, you know, I think I got to work today, you know, and I might have dinner with Ron at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You know, because, you know, we've been working hard and we've got this meeting coming up, so we got to talk about it. You know, that's how it works.
And we talked a little bit about your book.
Oh, yeah? Did he read it?
Well, no. I asked him, I said, did you get a copy of Chris's book? And he said, oh, Chris said you were going to bring me a copy back. And I said, when? He says, well, weren't you over there like recently? You were supposed to like give him $20 and you were supposed to bring me a copy of it back. I said, I didn't know anything about that. So
we talked about it. We never finally, I'll send him a book.
Yeah, whatever.
Big deal.
Yeah, I know. But I said, yeah, it's a real good book. And we were kind of chit chatting about it a little bit. And he goes, no, I didn't get a copy. You were supposed to bring me one. I was just like, oh, I didn't know. I said I would have been glad to have done that, but I didn't know.
Well, just get me his address and I'll throw him a book.
Sure.
I got a couple this week anyway. So.
Sure. So anyway, we did talk a little bit about that, and then on top of that, he's just like, dude, how are you fixed for servers? And I said, well, Chris gave me a server last year for the CMS, it's running fine and it seems to be doing a good job and all that. And he goes, well, I got like 6 or 7 sitting in the garage. Why don't you swing by and just grab one?
Why don't you just go and do that?
Yeah, just go over and grab one.
Dude, I'm serious. You should go
over.
Well,
he said, yeah. He said, just stop by here and grab one.
And so take advantage of it before he puts them on eBay.
Oh, believe me, I will.
Put it in the closet. There's our backup for the next round. Because this one will die eventually. It's an old server.
Sure. But he says, yeah, I got like 6 or 7 in the garage that are just sitting here. Just come on by and get one.
Nice.
I'm just like, all right, I'll do that.
Yeah, sure. Don't think twice about that offer.
I said, if you're just giving them away, I'll be glad to come by and get one.
What's the server cost? $1,500, $2,000?
Oh, it depends on what it is. I remember the server that we bought way back in 2006, 2007 was like $7,000.
Yeah, I think you need to go over there and say, you know what, dude, let me get 2 of these out of your way.
He's like, yeah, dude, I'm like doing all these upgrades for some of my customers, and they're going to the cloud, and they're going to virtual, and they're doing this, and they don't even want these, and I got them in the garage, and I got like 6 or 7 sitting there, so why don't you swing by and grab one?
Okay, maybe I'll take 2, Steve.
Take 2, they're small.
Yeah, they're huge. They're taking way too much space up in your garage.
Right.
Let me get them all.
So I told him, he said, yeah, let's hook up in 2 weeks. Why don't you swing by the house, grab a server, and then we'll go grab dinner. I said, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, all right. You'll wait out in the driveway so that the wife doesn't have to deal with you.
Right. What is it with me and the wives, man?
You know what? Because you represent single.
Is that what it is?
You absolutely do. From the way you dress to the car you drive, you represent single. Because the wives all see you as a fucking threat.
And again, like your ex,
yeah,
his hates me too.
Oh yeah,
she hates me, and I never did anything to this girl. Nothing.
To mine. Never did a goddamn thing to mine. Nothing. Never said a bad word about her, to her, anything. You said 10 words to her in the fucking 10 years that we knew each other when you were here.
Yeah.
Honestly, did you say 10 words to her?
I don't think so.
I mean, that's not even an exaggeration. I'll bet every time you came here, you said, hey, how you doing?
Right.
And that was the extent of it.
It's like, I hate that guy.
That fucking guy.
I hate that guy.
He's going to make him into a fucking potty mouth again.
Right.
You know, like Chris, he's a good guy, except for when he's around Neeley.
Well, his wife hates me, too. She absolutely hates me.
I don't get it, but you know, and it's like I have so many friends that are worse problems. You know, you don't do anything stupid. You don't smoke pot. You don't really drink. You don't fucking drive drunk. You don't speed. You don't do any of that shit. You know, none of it. You're like my almost Christian friend in some regards. I mean, really. I mean, the worst thing you do is the fucking classic metal show.
Yeah, that is the devil's tool right there.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy, man.
Good jackal. Neeley, the marriage killer. Not only do I break up bands, but I kill marriages too.
Yeah.